Mustangs. Coach Shannon and I are making our video series on proper weightlifting technique. I'm going to start with squat first because that's the single most important exercise I believe to learn as far as learning technique on an exercise that's going to relate to a lot of other activities that we do here in the weight room. So at first I have tape marks on the floor. They represent two different stances. The narrower tape mark is our deadlift stance. The wider tape mark is squat stance. It's general. You got to kind of accommodate flexibility and also height. So squat stance generally is a wider stance and toe out position slightly. Next thing to think about is arm position and how you address the bar. When you have the bar on your shoulders, you want to bring your elbows forward and down. That is going to activate your lat muscles, which will help protect your back and make it safer. So what we want to see is have your stance established first. As you address the bar, when you get under the bar, unrack it, step out, go into the movement. Now proper movement is having the knees track out after you hip hinge. Hip hinge happens when you're standing there with the weight on your shoulders, the hips rotate back, and that sets weight a little more towards your heels. And as I slide down into my squat, my knees are tracking out, but I also have equal weight between my big toe, little toe, and my heel as I slide down and slide out. I want to keep my hips as close to the pressure that I feel from the weight as possible. I don't want them to drift out. So proper technique and setup looks like this. Have my stance established first. I'm arm's length away from the bar. Tight grip. Shoulders are locked in. Step in and under directly. Unrack the weight. Step back. Take a little breath in. Tighten my stomach. Hip hinge, knees out. Drive up. Hip hinge, knees out. Drive up, still keeping the back muscles tight. So that is more or less proper technique on a squat, what we want to see. What I don't want to see is the hips drift back away from the bar, and we don't want to see partial reps. So this is what we don't want to see as far as setup and what a squat looks like, or what we see commonly. So my hips go away from the bar and the weight, which puts a lot of pressure on my lower back and also on my knees. And I also don't want to, we shouldn't see partial rep squats. So, in order to get max benefit from the squat exercise as far as athletic development, core strength, and safety, we want a wider stance, slightly toe out position, but also a good deep squat. A good deep squat means the hips will dip just below the level of the knee. That will help actively engage the hamstrings and glutes a little more, and that's where the squat should go into versus being quad dominant. So which, if the hips go back and we do partial reps, that's going to be more pressure on your back and your knees, which is going to be, eventually will lead to a problem.